Hello everybody and welcome back to Faith for Dummies. Hi Rob, how are you?
Hi Izzy, hi everyone. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Got a bit of a headache, but other than that, not too bad, thanks. How are you?
I am alright. Yeah, it's been a busy week, but doing well. Gearing up for Christmas, which is very relevant. Going to go decorate the church today, so that should be fun. But yeah,
fun.
Just doing alright.
Good. Have you any dummy moments for us?
I have. I actually just thought of another one as I was thinking just then. So
go for it.
My first dummy moment is, you know, on Amazon when some items you can either buy a one-time purchase or you can subscribe and save. And I don't know about you, but I've never subscribed and saved anything because there's nothing I use regularly enough that I need that. Anyway.
Yeah.
For our wedding, I was looking for some decoration stuff and I was looking at different types of ribbon. So I was just adding different ribbon to the basket just to be able to compare it all. And then I got an email the next day saying, thanks for your subscription. Your item will be with you on the 10th of December and the 10th of every month after that. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I went onto Amazon and it was a single roll of pink ribbon.
Wow.
Why would I need that? Why would I subscribe to that? Why would anyone subscribe to that? So random. So, you know, it was like $5.99 a month for a roll of pink ribbon. So if you're after that, Amazon have got it.
That just seems a bit unfair. I got a subscription for something and I tried to cancel it. And when they said they were going to take one more month's payment, I said, right, I'm going to beat the system here. I'm going to move all my money out of my account into my savings so they can't take the money out, which worked for a bit. They kept trying to take it out and the transaction kept failing, and they kept emailing me saying, you actually owe us money because in the contract that I signed up for, it says that we take a monthly payment in advance. And I thought, oh, that's real. They've done that deliberately, haven't they?
Yeah. So any like one-click subscription is not okay with me. Why would I want that? Anyway, the other thing that I thought about as I was talking was I bought, InPost, the lockers where you can send stuff to people. I bought an InPost label because I needed to send dresses to my friends. And I bought an InPost label for my friend. I filled out the form wrong. And so what I actually bought was an InPost label to myself. So thankfully I noticed and I bought a new one. So I've lost like £2. But yeah, I almost posted a parcel in a locker that would have come back to the same locker for me. So that's fun.
Wow, yeah, that is fun. So you can't change that. You can't just change it.
I couldn't change it. So I emailed them asking for a refund, but they haven't replied to me. So I think I've lost my $1.99.
They've done that deliberately as well.
Yeah, they really have.
Well, I've got one as well, just a little one. I was in my youth room and I found some hot chocolate powder, which was really meant to be in the kitchen. So I thought I better move that. And as I picked it up, I looked at it and looked at the date just to check it was fine. And then I decided to put my finger on the lid and shake it just to mix it all up. I don't really know why. You know, when you tell a story and you're thinking about why did I do that?
Interesting choice.
I think it was all like settled at the bottom and I thought, I'll just... Anyway, shook it and my finger wasn't on the lid well enough. And the lid came off and a big brown hot chocolate cloud came up and all over like my sleeve up here. On the floor. I mean, I just stood there thinking, oh man.
I love those moments.
I shook it all off my sleeve and then sent you a picture saying dummy moment for hot chocolate and said, this is after I've cleaned it. And it was still, and it was still dirty.
It's very unforgiving.
I had to leave the big mess in the room, wash my hands and then go to a different room to get the hoover to hoover it all up and hope that nobody was going to come in the room and be like, why has someone just left a big brown dust all over the floor?
I bet it smelled great though.
It probably did. I can't remember. It probably did. But
you smelled like chocolate the whole day, presumably. Right. Well, we're actual real dummies this week, I guess.
Yeah.
So, Rob, what are we talking about this week?
So this week, we're talking about Christmas, Santa or Jesus. And I suppose that Santa or Jesus is a nice opening kind of line and question to talk about. But we're kind of talking all things Christmas and commercialism and lots of stuff in that. So
yeah, I mean, if the topic was just Santa or Jesus, the podcast would be over in approximately 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's right. Jesus, let's go home.
Yeah, great.
So, I mean, the first bullet point actually says, so Santa or Jesus, what do you think? Obviously Jesus.
Yeah, we write little notes for these podcasts, and Rob was
Yeah.
just like, let's just answer the question anyway. I'm going to say Jesus.
I'm glad we agree. Jesus, yeah.
So you did a little bit of research into Santa and Christmas and some of the meanings behind that. Would you like to tell us what you found?
Yeah, I did, and yeah, I would. And Santa comes from Saint Nicholas, and that's basically because he was generous. I think he might have been a bishop or someone as well, but I actually got a bit confused. Not gonna lie, so I moved on. But there you go. He originated from Saint Nicholas.
Wow,
Maybe
you come
you
to
can.
this podcast for all the facts, guys.
I mean, no, I don't know what to say to that. Okay, but in terms of the word Christmas itself, that
Yeah.
comes from Mass of Christ. And Mass is a service traditionally used with Catholics, but they used to do a Mass specifically to celebrate the birth of Christ. So Christ Mass, Christmas. It's all about celebrating Jesus' birthday, because no Jesus' birthday, no Jesus dying on the cross, no Easter. Big thing for, most important thing for Christians, obviously, as you know. And so therefore, birth of Christ, worth celebrating, as my birthday, as your birthday, as listeners' birthday as well.
Yeah. I was chatting to a friend the other day about Christmas, and she was saying, like, often in churches, there's a huge thing made about Easter, how like Easter is like when God, really like showed a miracle and showed his power. And like, obviously that's very true. But she was like, Christmas needs to be more talked about, as in it's very talked about in the secular world, but in some churches, we kind of gloss over it. Like, it's not Easter. It's a nice bit of the story, but it's not Easter. She was like, God became a human. That's mad. Like, why don't we celebrate that in a bigger way? And I was thinking, yeah, I think I agree.
Yeah.
I also found out that Christmas, like the Christmas industry, so like seasonal sales in Britain, are going to cost, like, people are going to spend in total about £91 billion this year.
That's
on
mad,
Christmas,
isn't it?
like Christmas trees, Christmas like festivals, Christmas presents, like anything to do with Christmas. £91 billion, like that's mad. You just stick Santa on something and people buy it. Crazy.
Yeah. So I thought it might be just a good idea, really, to kind of think a little bit about our personal Christmases when we were younger, and to do with Santa and Jesus. And so, do you want to go first, or shall I go first?
I can go first, I don't mind. I will say, if you're listening to this podcast with young ears, then you might want to put some headphones in, because we will talk about Santa and Christmas.
I did not know where you were going with that.
Jesus and stuff like that. We're not going to be rude. That's not what I mean. Some people might not want little ears listening to this. Anyway, what was my Christmas like with Santa? Yeah, we did Santa in our house, like up until, I don't know, I reckon I must have been quite old, because my brother's a few years younger than me and he did it as well. So yeah, Santa brought us stockings in the morning, but our parents bought us big presents under the tree. My biggest memories about Christmas really, though, are like gifts from my parents and spending Christmas morning together. We weren't a churchy family, so we didn't go to church or anything like that. We just spent the morning opening presents and having breakfast, and then we'd go see family. The one thing I was telling Rob before we started recording was my mum was very much the kind of person who was like, the Christmas tree will look perfect. We will have silver and white ornaments on the Christmas tree, and that is it. We'll not have anything else. Like, it's lovely that you've made a decoration at school, but it can go on the back of the tree. And even all of the presents had to be wrapped in the same color. And if a friend gave us a gift and it was like wrapped in like red and green wrapping, we'd have to hide it behind the tree because she didn't want it to like ruin it was beautiful, and my mum's got a very good eye for stuff. But yeah, what about you? What was Christmas like for you?
Yeah, I always loved Christmas. It was very much family orientated. My immediate family, but also wider family. And I remember having 17 people stay in our house, having air beds on the floor. Yeah, in all the different rooms, and just thinking that was kind of normal. And yeah, so very big with family and people and food and stuff like that. In a way, really, about lots of things that what Christmas isn't about, but still important to kind of have that rest, really. I spend that time not at school at the time, or not at work for the adults. And so we did Santa for a long time. I remember being told the news. I don't know how old I was, but I must have been at least 8, because of it was in the new house, and we moved when I was 8. So it might have been older, but I was told, I I was told at the same time as my older sister, and she was a bit like, yeah, I kind of knew. But for me, it was a shock. And I remember being like quite sad about it. But then obviously as you get older and you understand it and everything. But the reason why I was quite sad about it is because we made quite a big thing of it and it was always important. I know some Christians don't really appreciate the idea of Santa or do that, and that's fine and that works for them. But the way we did it as we got older and you understand things was Santa would bring you something little, perhaps, and we would do that in the morning before church. And if there were bigger presents, they would be from parents.
Yeah. Actually, I was awful. I'm 4 years older than my brother, and I found out quite young. So he found out very young because I told him and he didn't believe me. So I said, let's have a sleepover and stay up really late and find out. So we did.
And did your parents not see through that?
My parents didn't know that we would have a sleepover every Christmas Eve. And they kind of told me off. I also, one year, my brother really annoyed me when he was little, and I wrote him a letter from Santa saying, you're not getting any presents this year. And my mum found it and she was like, how dare you?
And rightly so, is he?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I was, yeah.
Yeah. And so we pretty much always went to church on Christmas morning. And I think when you're little, you don't appreciate that. And you just like, I just want to go home, eat all the chocolate, open all the presents and do everything as early as possible. We went to stay at family's house because we'd mix it up each year. We would go to a church either that they went to, or if they didn't go to church, we'd just find a local one and go because we thought it was important. So obviously didn't understand everything as a young child, but understood that it was important and that we did it anyway. And our church now, they say bring a present to open. And I think it's just a way of trying to kind of be a bit more fun as well in church and help keep that enthusiasm for going to church on Christmas morning. And yeah.
That's cool. I like that idea. I actually haven't been to church on Christmas Day for since the pandemic started. I used to go every year, from when I became a Christian.
I remember you saying this actually.
Yeah, and the pandemic stopped me, and then I just haven't been back because I actually just really appreciate family time.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, we go to church on Christmas Day. I think every year, really. Oh, that was loud. So obviously, it is about Jesus and celebrating his birth. So how do you think we can balance the festive things in society while still keeping Jesus as the reason for the season?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I think it'll be different for everybody, right? It really depends how you get into stuff. There are Christian families who will do Santa stuff but they'll also do church on Christmas Day. There are families who won't do church on Christmas and who won't have anything to do with anything commercial. I know families who their kids aren't allowed to watch Christmas films because they depict things that aren't real. There's always going to be stuff like that. But it's a good question. I think mostly it's probably about where your heart is in stuff, like with everything, right? How, when we talked about social media, how involved do you get in it without letting it take over your heart completely? Yeah. So I suppose it's kind of the same with Christmas stuff. How much can you get into it without letting it become its own idol?
Yeah, I do. I think that's good. And I think it depends a lot on you and your individual circumstance, and only you can know what that is. And I think also that our opinions are our opinions, and you might feel differently, and that's okay. But I think there are things that we can get involved in. I think you've actually written this one down, but Advent calendars, I think that's a great one. My nearly 3-year-old has an Advent calendar. He doesn't really understand the whole concept of having one a day. So he has one. And he goes, more Advent calendar? Well, then there won't be one tomorrow. And then he cries, and then we have the same thing each day.
Do you just have a chocolate Advent calendar with your kids, or do you have just a spiritual one, or do you do both? That was always an interesting... I had friends at school where I had a chocolate one, and they were Christians, and they had this, to me, very boring, Jesus-y one. And they were like, I read a verse from the Bible today. And I was like, well, I got a dairy milk chocolate, so I win.
It wasn't really in my mind, actually, that question. But Adele's been very, very on it, and has very nicely bought him one which has the nativity scene on it. And it's got a bit of the Christmas story on the door that opens and a nice little picture. So she's kind of combined them. We also have a little small nativity set, which is somewhere in our house and chucked on the floor by the baby.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, okay. So you've kind of mixed the two together, I guess. I think the other thing I think of is like giving gifts. So that can be a really huge commercial thing. So I'm not much of a gift giver. I'm very much like, if I see something you would like, I will buy it for you and give it to you. But I'm not much of a gift giver. And so I have to try really hard at Christmas. Like I try to get my parents something and my brother, but more often than not, me and my brother just end up going out for a meal together or something because we're just bad at giving gifts. And I think like sometimes we just get caught up in like, I have to give somebody something because they gave me something, or, you know, and actually, I guess you could like take a step back at Christmas and think, how am I going to give something to somebody and actually have it be meaningful? Like instead of just giving gifts as a commercial thing, how can I give gifts as a Jesus thing? So how can I show somebody love or generosity or kindness through this gift rather than just, oh, I bought this for you because it's Christmas, but actually I bought this for you because I wanted to bless you. I wanted to like make you happy, or I wanted to help with a financial situation that you're in, or, you know, something like that.
Sure. Yeah. And I think that's something as an adult we've kind of thought more about, like as a married couple, Dan and I, but my mum went crazy at Christmas, and to be honest with you, I enjoyed every single minute of it. And was always very over the top. Oh, Mum, if you're listening, don't be mad at that. But with the food and the presents and stuff. But honestly, I loved it. But I suppose like my faith has changed through the years, and my mum's faith has changed through the years, and priorities change. But I can't deny that. Even now, I've got sisters that aren't Christians, and that's okay, and they still enjoy it. And we had honestly great Christmases, and so I'm very grateful for that. But it has made us now go, what do we want our kids to have from it? And obviously, we really want them to understand the real reason for it, and Jesus and all the fun things from church and nativity and stuff. But also, I've had that fun in me, and I want to bless my kids with a good time.
Yeah.
And I want to get a nice balance, really, of family time and memories and stuff, but also good habits. Church is good, Jesus is good, and so that. Does that make sense? But I feel like people might not always agree with that, and that's okay. But that's what I think.
But that's what I mean. Like different families are different. I mean, like we never ever went to church on Christmas Day when I was little because my parents aren't Christians, and yet I think my mum in particular, but my mum and dad, they're two of the most generous people I know. And they have shown me so much about loving people and giving gifts and being generous and, you know, being kind with what you've been blessed with in order to bless others. Like, honestly, my mum is one of the kindest and most generous people ever. And she's such a brilliant gift giver. She loves giving gifts. And so that blesses me and that blesses people around her. And like, but she's not necessarily thinking, you know, what's the meaning behind this gift? She's just, that's how she's wired. That's who she is. Sure. And so being in the commercial side of stuff or being in the kind of non-Christian side of Christmas doesn't have to be a negative thing. Like it's not one against the other, is it? Like you can have both.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other thing I was going to say as well is like, it's really easy to be like, we're not going to get involved in like Christmassy stuff. But as a church, if you want people to walk through your doors, it might be worth getting involved in Christmas stuff. So last year we had like a craft morning for kids. This year, the thing we're doing as outreach is showing a Christmas film, which hilariously, we're showing a Christmas film this Saturday. And next Saturday, the same film is being shown at a theatre nearby.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, we've accidentally put on a competitive film day with exactly the same film, except obviously we're going to do it for free. But that kind of thing is like, you know, it's a Christmas film about Santa. So are we being anti-Jesus? I don't think so. Like we're inviting people to come in through the church doors. But if we weren't going to involve ourselves in commercialism at all, then we wouldn't be able to do stuff like that. So I also think getting involved in Christmas stuff can be a good idea from the church's point of view as well.
Yeah, brilliant. And carol service, I think you get to an age where you start to appreciate carols more than little old young boy me who was like, oh, another verse. They're a great evangelistical opportunity, aren't they? And if you make them so that they are engaging and carols and evangelistic, what a great opportunity that is, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I guess like they're the things we could get involved in. Is there anything you could think of not to get involved in that you would say, like, as a Christian, maybe this is something to avoid during Christmas time?
The only thing I wrote down was a joke answer, which was mistletoe.
I don't know many Christians who are carrying mistletoe around in their pockets.
Don't know. What do you think?
Well, yeah, the only thing I can think of off the top of my head is that whole thing about like the Christmas industry. And like, I know I've just said giving gifts is a great thing and getting involved in commercial stuff can be a really great thing. But also, I suppose just doing it really mindfully and kind of like, am I doing this because this stuff is really cheap? Am I doing it because it's really enticing and shiny? Or am I doing it because there's an actual reason and there's an actual need? Like, I suppose for myself, want to remind myself, you know, not to just get thrown in, like not to just buy gifts for people for the sake of it or buy Christmas rubbish just for the sake of it, but what could I use that money for? In our old church, we used to do like the Romania shoebox appeal where you'd like fill a box with toys and stuff. There's food banks, there's all this kind of stuff that we could be helping with. So I guess something to avoid, I guess, would be getting dragged into the kind of financial commercialism of it.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anything in particular that I can think I absolutely wouldn't get involved with.
Yeah, maybe we'll ponder on that a bit longer. And if you have any suggestions, you can DM us on Instagram or whatever you want to get in contact.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess finally then to try and wrap this up, I feel like we could talk about this forever, but to wrap it up, are there any particular scripture references, stories in the Bible that you would go back to around Christmas time or things that come to mind when we talk about Christmas? Obviously, like it's a biblical thing, so I would imagine there is some. But
yeah, absolutely. I've got two main ones that spring to mind. And the first one is John chapter 3, verse 16. And that is a very famous verse which says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life." And it's just the verse that sums up the Bible, I think, really. And that's all possible because Jesus was born before he died. And so that's why that one comes here. And the part of the big picture comes to mind. So that's why the big picture. Another one is Luke chapter 2, verse 19. And that is, "But Mary treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart." And it's just a reminder, really, that Christmas is so busy, and to just ponder and treasure all of the, not the festive things that society says, but all the fact that Jesus came. And Jesus came as a baby to start with. When we had our baby, we came home and it was just a time when he was sleeping. And it wasn't always like that, obviously, when he was crying. But just sit still and be quiet. Just a reminder, really, to sit and be still over Christmas rather than all the busy go, go, go.
Yeah,
Yeah. What about you, Izzy?
Yeah, I think I mean, one of the scriptures that gets used all the time over Christmas is the Isaiah 9:6, and it talks about there'll be somebody born who is going to come and like be everything that everyone's been waiting for, and it says he'll have the government on his shoulders, I think. So he's going to be greater than the government. He's going to be a wonderful counselor. So he's going to be wise. He's going to be a mighty God. He's going to be powerful. He's going to be an everlasting father, and he's going to be a prince of peace. And I think I try and imagine myself as an Israelite hearing that kind of promise and thinking like, wow, this guy's going to be mighty and strong and powerful. And then it's a baby. And I'm always like, that must have been so, like, we just say like, oh yeah, Jesus was born as a baby and he was going to be the king. But imagine being at that time or knowing Mary and being like, what do you mean your baby's a king? You're crazy. Like, it's just, I think it's absolutely mad. And then I love the fact that Jesus has two names. So he's called Jesus, which means he will save, but he's also called Emmanuel, which means he's God with us. And like, not only is he the savior and the king and the mighty God and, you know, all of those other things, but he's with us. Like, he was born to be with us. He didn't stay just as God, but he also became man. And that's just like a constant reminder that Jesus is a God who knows us. Like, he's not far away. He's with us. And I love that.
Yeah, that's so cool. I know I've said some stuff which people may disagree with and whatnot in terms of what we do at Christmas time, but absolutely, Jesus is my priority, and he is the absolute priority at Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we called the episode Jesus or Santa, and I guess like the obvious answer is obviously it's Jesus, not Santa. But I think what we've talked about is, you know, you can have Jesus and Santa, you can have Jesus and commercialism, as long as, if we're Christians, we're remembering that Jesus is the pinnacle of that. He's the center of all of that. Yeah, you know, absolutely. We have to be able to find ways of reminding ourselves that he's the important thing, you know?
We had a Christmas light switch on thing in town, which was really good fun. And my wife's a community worker for the church. And she bought 100 tiny little Jesuses that said, Jesus loves you on it, and their stall in the town was to give out these. They're like a little Lego Jesus, imagine that, and a box of celebrations. Said, "Would you like a little Jesus? Would you like a chocolate?" And it was just a great way, really, of saying Jesus loves you. Kind of commercialism in a way, but also a good evangelistic tool. And they were giving out invitations for church services and stuff. So
yeah
really
absolutely
cool. Brilliant.
What are we doing next week, Rob?
Well, next week is our final one of series 3. Wow, that's gone quick.
Times.
Yeah. And you have interviewed our friend Jess to ask her all about her testimony, how she came to faith and all that. And that's a good one, isn't it?
It's a great one. Yeah, it's a great one. We love Jess. So we will see you next week for our interview with Jess.
Yeah, we will do. And I think we're right in saying that season 4 is in the works.
It's on its way.
It's on its way. Brilliant.
Cool.
So have a good evening, day, Izzy and everyone. And I'll see you soon.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.